Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog and to my YouTube channel at stampwithelaine.com. Do you scrabble around trying to find the right stamp set when you're making a card for a relative? The best family ever is the answer to your prayers. It covers all possible relationships, from grandparents to husbands and wives, in-laws, uncles, sons, cousins, and so on. It even has one for a baby, and then there are the smaller fonts in script form with love, you're in my thoughts, from your, to my, happy birthday, thanks, congratulations, like, best ever, bonus, and wonderful. So you can mix and match this and make up your own greeting. Now, Mother's Day is 2 days away, so it just seemed appropriate for me to do another Mother's Day card. But I didn't necessarily want to put Happy Mother's Day because I've made so many of those already and I've only got one mum. So this is the card we're making, and it just says, best ever mum, love you. So it could be for a birthday card or a thank you card, a congratulations card, or whatever. You can handwrite Happy Mother's Day in it if you wish, but then you can use it for anything. This background is from the delightful Doily Hybrid embossing folder, and these are the dies that go with it. I only used the embossing folder this time. The delightful Doily Hybrid embossing folder has these dies which will fit on the logo side of the embossing folder. The open work one does fit into logo side of the embossing folder. You can feel it engage. Then you just put your cardstock on top and then shut the folder and run it through the machine. So this die will help you die cut just a lace doily without embossing it, because it will have all the details in it. These smaller ones will fit on the logo side. You can use that one and just have a tiny doily, or you can use this to have the more detailed one. The other stamp set I'm using is called Sentimental Park. This has been around for some time, so it's only available to purchase separately and not as a bundle. These are the dies. You've got the frames for it, and it will cut little flowers and some of the stamped images, like this one for instance, and this one, and the leaf, which I've done here. This is the open work one, and I've just cut extra flowers to overlay onto the label itself. So those are all the die cut pieces, and it's a two-step stamping method. So you stamp that first and then stamp that inside. The inks I'm using are Lost Lagoon, Calypso Coral and Petal Pink, and I'm also using the Lost Lagoon stamping blends to colour in this little detail on the label. I'm also using some basic rhinestone jewels. The card base is 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, and in metric that's 14.5 by 21 centimeters in Lost Lagoon. Then you want 2 pieces of basic white, one for the front and one for the inside, and both of these have been cut at 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. In metrics that's 9.5 by 14 centimeters. There's a second matte layer in Lost Lagoon, which is 1/8 of an inch smaller, and that's been cut at 3 5/8 by 5 3/8, which goes on top. for the front of the card, and this is the piece that you emboss with. You need a scrap of basic white to stamp your floral elements and leaves, and also some adhesive backed scraps to die cut the extra flowers for here. So first take the matte layer for the front of your card, and we're going to use a die to die cut this label here. So these are the dies we're going to be using from the Sentimental Park die set. This one will cut out this flower detail here. This will die cut the flower. This will die cut the leaf. This will die cut these flowers here. And this one will die cut the open work flower here and here. So first we're going to do a bit of stamping. I'm going to stamp the outline of the flower first. Swap ink pads to a lighter colour. Fill it in with this stamp. Line it up and stamp. Then I'm going to stamp the outline in a darker colour. Now you see that I've got a mark on my stamp, and that's because of it being a petal. You have to be mindful where that petal is. So when you stamp the filler, this is a two-step stamping method, so it takes 2 stamps to create one image. Then I'm going to stamp with a lighter ink, and you see where the gap is, so I'm going to place my stamp where the gap is and stamp. Then I'm going to swap ink pads and stamp the leaf, and I need 2 of those as well. So this is first generation, where I ink up the stamp and stamp directly onto the cardstock. This is second generation, when I stamp off the paper and then stamp on, like so. So again, stamp off, then stamp on. First I'm going to emboss the Lost Lagoon matte layer, so make sure that's central, leading edge with the fold at the other end. Grey plate, which is platform 4, and I'll run it through the machine off camera. Set that aside, and before I glue this down as my matte layer to the card, I'm going to use the inside, which won't show, and die cut my label from there. Bring back my platforms. So platform 2, which is the thin die adapter, the base plate platform 3, followed by my cardstock, and the second platform 3. Let's glue this to the matte layer. And glue this piece onto the card base. Set this aside, die cut these pieces, and if you see on this flower there's a kink there, and that kink goes along here, so place it along there. I've got my sandwich, platform 1, platform 2, base plate platform 3, cardstock dies, cutting edge face down, and a second platform 3. So I'll die cut that off camera. Now we need to cut these ones with the adhesive backed Calypso Coral scrap, and also the Petal Pink for the more solid flowers. I'll be back. Now we've got our die cut elements, we leave that there. and do the label. So I want to colour my leaves here. So just draw a straight line across there. I'm using the bullet end because you've got more control over it than the brush end. Now we want to take off the adhesive sheet backing. Bring in my tweezers, and there is a special way that this will adhere to the label, so you need to find the right position. And these just go over the top. This one has a square tip, so it fits over the other square tip. Now I'm going to stamp the greeting on there, and I'll stamp Mum first, and I want this second generation, so I'll stamp off, stamp, and then I want to stamp this at full strength, so I'm just going to overlap it slightly. Put dimensionals on the back, in the middle, so I can then tuck the leaves behind. Bring back my card. See how much room I need. Pop it along there. I actually separated my leaves. I put a glue dot behind and inserted my leaf here, so that it's inside the card. Another glue dot. You see this Mum here, it's shortened, so that's why I put a flower there to cover it up. I'm going to just trim off the stems so it's not so long, and pop them in here like so. More glue dots. And lastly, put a dimensional on there and stick it here. Grab some rhinestones, put one here, and lastly we want to do the inside of the card. The U is from Sentimental Park. So Lost Lagoon again. Stamp off. Let's use that one and stamp that at full strength. Stamp the outline first, right at the bottom. Stamp the filler in Petal Pink, like so. Glue it to the inside of the card. And voila, your card is completed. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Thanks for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks for watching. Bye.